Ladies and gentlemen, Elimination Chamber 2025 is the next premium live event, and just for curiosity's sake, let's look at the tickets. So this ticket buying video is brought to you guys by SeatGeek. So if you guys are looking for tickets for any event in the entire world, get them through SeatGeek. But use my last name at checkout as your promo code, and you guys will actually get $20 off of your tickets. This is good for any event, first time orders only. So if you've seen it before, make a new account with a new email. You can still use the code and get $20 off for any ticket for any event in the entire world. Brandon here, your king of vlog style, and ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know, I'm now back from Indianapolis, the Royal Rumble. It feels like I just got back from there because I was sick for a little while after the show, but nonetheless, the next premium live event happening, of course, after the Royal Rumble, it's all happening actually only 2 weeks away, like from now. It's like 2 weeks away, which is absolutely insane, is the Elimination Chamber show. Now this show, of course, is happening, it's taking place up there in Canada, happening in Toronto, Canada. The last premium live event, of course, they had in Toronto, Canada. I was there. It was Money in the Bank 2020, I think my briefcase is covered, but it's Money in the Bank 2024 in July in Canada. So a lot of people have been asking me, hey Brandon, since you were, in Canada for Money in the Bank, are you coming back to Canada for the Elimination Chamber? And honestly, I didn't have an answer for you guys because it was very, very tempting because Canadian money is much cheaper than the United States. So we as Americans can get tickets cheaper if we go to a Canada show than we can the United States show. Like here in the States, like floor is like thousands of dollars, and then in Canada it's only a few hundred. Like I waited until closer to the show until prices dropped, but I literally sat like row 3 for Money in the Bank last year for like 200 or 300 US dollars, which was absolutely nuts compared to how much the tickets are here in the United States. So I gotta say, yeah, it's very tempting to take a flight up to Canada to go to Elimination Chamber. I don't think that's gonna happen, but hopefully maybe WrestleMania prices will drop and I'll be able to go to WrestleMania. If not, there'll be more premium live events around the country that I'll be going to, of course, because I'm the king of vlog style. I'll go to a bunch of shows, but nonetheless, it's still fun to look at tickets. So that's what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go on Ticketmaster, which is the official, box office website for this show, and see how much tickets are. Alright, so here we are on WWE.com, of course. So you have to go through this way if you live in the United States to be able to get to the Canadian version, because it's an international show or whatever. So you hit buy tickets, it'll redirect you to the Canadian version of Ticketmaster, which is just .ca. It's just easier to get redirected that way in my experience. So what you need to know about this show is that if you sit on the floor in the first 10 rows of floor sections A, B, C, D, and E, you will receive a commemorative chair to take home with you. Just like I got for Money in the Bank when I was in Canada. I sat like row 3 or 4, and I got to take the chair with me. Of course, I had to pay the airline to get it back, but nonetheless, if you sat in the first 10 rows of those floor, you will get a chair. Now, of course, that's not the case for normal premium live events. That's just like the larger ones, because this is not in the smaller Toronto arena. This is actually in the Rogers Centre, which is like a bigger arena, I guess, bigger stadium kind of deal. So let's go straight for the goods, guys, because I know Canada's much cheaper here. We're gonna have to convert a lot of things because Canadian dollars are not US dollars, which most people watching this are probably in the US, but you might not be, and if you're not, let me know in the comments, because it's kind of cool. So here is like the setup. It would be your stage. So camera side is this section right here. So let's look at the closest seat here. So row 2. Ouch, that's expensive. $3,862. And the nice thing about the Canadian site is they include the fees. For some reason, the US site used to do that, but they don't do that anymore, and it's like a surprise, because I thought I was getting, a $200 ticket for Royal Rumble when I bought my Royal Rumble tickets, and it ended up being about $300 with fees. Surprise, surprise, after you select your seat. But this is actually already included, which is very nice. So we have to convert that. So $3,862 is not that in the US. In the US, it's $2,000, so it's almost it's over $1,000 cheaper. But of course, that's a really close platinum seat. We want a standard kind of deal. So let's keep going back here. Okay, so row 5. Row 5 is quite close. It's only $1,290. What a drop off of that. But that, of course, is in Canadian dollars, so $1,290. Canadian to US, it's only $908, which is unheard of, because for the Royal Rumble when I was there, the cheapest seat, like literally 30 minutes before the show, I was buying my tickets, right? The cheapest actual like ringside closed floor was $2,500. So compare that from the Rumble to Elimination Chamber. Of course, they're not in the same caliber of show, but this is still, I guess, a larger kind of stadium dome kind of arena show or whatever, but still, $900 versus $2,500. That's crazy. So row 7's no cheaper, but if we go back here, row 10, which is the last row that you would get that take-home chair, which is still considered a ringside seat, it's only $969, so that's also a bit cheaper, but of course that's Canadian dollars. To bring that down, $680, which is so much cheaper than the US on shows. And I really wish I could fly to Canada for the show. I really wish I could make it happen, but I was just at the Rumble like 2 weeks ago. I can't go traveling again. I wish I could. But maybe something will come up. And plus, Canada is unbelievably cold right now. Like, when I went to Canada, I loved going outside and exploring and go to Niagara Falls and go to Algonquin Park and like all kinds of stuff like that. The outdoorsy kind of Canadian kind of stuff. But you can't do that this time of year. So that's unfortunate. It makes the trip like, oh, just going up to the show and flying back, that's really not that fun. Especially when you have to fly to a whole different country. So like if you sit further back on the floor, there's $700 floor there. So $713. Let's convert that down. I should have this conversion in my head by now, but it keeps changing. So that's $500 camera side, which is really, really cool. Probably if you sit even further back on the floor off of a side section, it'll get even cheaper. So far back here, it's $418 Canadian, which is gonna be like unbelievably cheap. The $418 is only $294 US. Now, of course, the show's still 2 weeks away. The tickets will get cheaper as the show gets closer. But let's say you're wanting some really like cheap seats, or you're wanting to be elevated. Maybe you're not the tallest person in the world, and you want to be elevated where you can see over people. Let's go ahead and look up some like elevated seats here. So right here is preferred seating for $400. I'm sure there's some like basic kind of like risen up seats that are like an affordable price. So $303 there. So we're getting even the cheaper territory. Which that might be better than some of the floor, because especially if you're shorter, that's only $200 US. Like, that is so much cheaper. Like, this is an unbelievably amount of difference between doing a show in Canada and doing a show in the US. And it also, of course, would depend on the city in the US, but like, it's just a huge difference. This like I said, this dome is very uniquely shaped. I guess it's like more of a dome kind of thing. If you go up higher up, which isn't really necessary for this show, considering how much cheaper it is in the US. I mean, this still may be a lot for Canada, I'm not sure. So if you said the top, there's $250. Looks like $250 might be the cheapest, but we can sort it here in a moment. $250, $176. What's the cheapest ticket? The cheapest ticket is a verified resale ticket for $164, which is only $115 US. And that's in section 500. So you're at the very, very top there. But honestly, it is so much more affordable. This is like how much wrestling shows were a few years ago, and I totally miss it. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely get very, very close to the ring, very, very close to the chamber, and be able to see a lot for a really affordable price compared to the American shows. And this is unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. It just makes me be like, oh, I wish I could go. Should I go? Should I not go? But I'm like, no, I can't be doing that. I was just at the Royal Rumble. I gotta space it out a little bit. There's a whole year here to get through. I'm like, these are so great. I really, really am keeping my fingers crossed that WWE is going to do another premium live event in Canada, like sometime within 2025, which isn't out of the reason, because like in 2024 there was two in Canada. You know, you had Survivor Series on the other side of Canada, and you had Money in the Bank in Toronto. So I'm really, really excited. Hopefully they'll do another show in Canada when Canada has actually warmed up and I'm not like right on top of another premium live event. But these prices make me very excited, and anyone who has the means to go to Canada to save some money on going to some shows, you're really gonna save some dough and get really close and even grab a chair. Like, this is freaking amazing prices. WWE totally got to go to Canada more. Either that or bring the Canadian prices back to the US, because this is like so much freaking better. So there you guys have it. Those are the Elimination Chamber tickets. Those are the prices. I'm shocked. I'm taken away. Let's keep it this way. Let's not change anything. And maybe let's bring these prices even back over to the US, so people like dedicated fans who don't have like a fortune to spend tens of thousands of dollars on tickets for a show can actually go to the shows, have a good time, and be able to see something and not have to watch the television screen because they're sitting in the very, very top. But nonetheless, that's my kind of rant for the day. I'm just happy that there's some options for tickets for affordable prices if you're willing to travel. But nonetheless, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this ticket browsing video. I'm your one and only undisputed king of vlog style, Brandon Hodge, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.